Hello and welcome to the Global Podcast. I am Gwinzer, and today we are going to be speaking a little bit about what's going on in the world of global conflict. If you're not already aware, Global Conflict is a Battlefield community who play organised matches on PC every week. You can go ahead and visit us at global-conflict.org to know more. With me today we have Matsif,
Hello.
Fields,
Hello!
and Waxus.
Hello.
And we're going to mention the player draft. We're going to go into some information about the player draft today. We're also going to discuss the BF4C2 timeline and also talk a little bit about Renegade X, which we were playing earlier today. So, Matsif, our player draft, we've finally got some information on that. Care to enlighten us as to what that is?
Yes, so today we had a nice big meeting with all of the happy people that are getting this campaign up and running, and unfortunately due to some technical difficulties, we had to delay everything by some time just because of people not being able to show up, stuff not being ready, things like that. But anyways, next week at SBT -2, that is in the European time zone, so for people who have switched your clocks already, that is SBT -1. We will be having an open old-style player draft. So anybody who wants to show up and hear your name get called and which army you're going to get picked by, show up. The goal is you show up, you're going to have the draft, and then right at SBT, European time, you get kicked off right into a scrim. And it's going to be a fun time, actually having an old-school draft, which we haven't really done for quite some time, if I remember correctly.
Well, just to clarify, the delays that we're putting into effect, I know that everyone wants to get started, but honestly, it's going to be for the better for everyone, because we don't want to do things without having. I think it was Hitman who had some schedule difficulties, as well as some other HC players. We didn't want to do things without them here, so it's just going to work out a lot better for everyone, to be honest.
Yes. So the draft is next week. That is Saturday, the March 22nd.
Yep.
And from then on, we've got our details on what we'll be doing for the next couple of weeks up to our BFI. Again, Matsif, as Mr. TA, do you wish to enlighten us as to what the story is?
You're Mr. TA, you're privy to the same information.
Yeah. In the absence of Mr. Blue today, I am recording, so.
Oh, okay then. Well, after that, on March 29th, we'll be having a scrim, just typical GC pre-campaign scrim settings. Everybody picks a couple maps, we go through the map list, switch sides every map, no real won the scrim, lost the scrim stuff being tracked there. There'll be a second scrim on April the 5th, so we can work out any other kinks that might be in place. And then the BFI will take place on April the 12th, which, again, will run similarly to the scrims as far as map choices and switching sides and things like that, but then there'll be the winning conditions for the BFI, which then gives the winner the advantage on week 1 of the campaign for April 19th. Indeed.
So what's the first official battle day that we're going to have? What's a date that people can look forward to make sure they're here? Let's just say the BFI. That's the 12th of April, right?
That would be the 12th of April, but I personally would hope that the more people that show up for at least Scrim 1 and 2 on March 29th and April 5th, the better it's going to make the overall campaign in the end. So as we have more people the better. So
yeah, especially regarding the amount of people that turn up for the scrims is going to affect what kind of recruitment efforts we put in. If we've got a really high turnout, we've got a lot of veteran people coming out of the woodwork, we'll probably hold off on doing any major recruitment drives. However, if we're starting to run low, then that's when we start looking at another batch of people coming in. So it'd be nicer to know ahead of time, to show up on any scrim that you can, so we don't end up with these periods where we've got massive waiting lists because we underestimated the amount of people that would be here during the campaign.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
But at the same time, I want to think that a waiting list of 10 people or something is better than the server being underpopulated and just doing 20v20 the whole time.
I agree.
Oh my god, he said something.
Best podcast ever.
You're gonna have to come to these more often, Wax. You're hilarious.
Too much of a good thing is not good.
Everything in moderation, especially moderation.
Well, I think we especially need to have Waxes in moderation. I sometimes think the very infrequent interactions I have with him is too much.
He's the secret TA.
Yeah.
The spy TA.
So that's it for our Battlefield 4 timeline, and we don't really have any more information on C2 yet that we're ready to announce. So we will move on to Renegade X. Today we played Renegade X as our organised event. It's a pretty good game. Two teams fight each other like any other FPS, but with a twist. Each game it's based on the Command and Conquer universe. That's actually a kind of updated version of the Command & Conquer Renegade, hence the term Renegade X. And it's a good twist on the kind of shooter genre of each team has a base with buildings which provide kind of bonuses to their team, allow people to take vehicles, advanced infantry classes, and there's quite a bit of kind of depth to the game. How did you guys enjoy playing today?
As usual, wish there was more people, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I think the numbers is probably the biggest problem we have with the game right now. Of course, it is a completely free mod that has absolutely no monetization to it, so it does have some bugs. I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of people developing on it, but I mean, it's just a good time to have. It really reminds me of Tribes Ascend. It's kind of fast-paced. There's no skiing in it, but you know, your base has destructible objects that can work against you when they get destroyed, obviously, and it's just a really fun, interesting, kind of old school game. I'd really recommend everyone to try it, especially because it's absolutely free. So so one of my favorite bugs in the game is that when you buy a weapon, first of all, you have to capture a tech plant in the game so that your team can buy a certain weapon. And then once you buy that weapon in one round, the next time it switches map, you still have the weapon. So it's you always have that OP weapon after you bought it the first time, which I think is hilarious. It's a great leg up too if you're playing like the engineer and you only have the pistol, and then you like automatically have the Tiberium rifle or whatever. Yeah, that thing is crazy good.
It's really, really good as well because that specific weapon, it saps health straight away. Well, everything else has to go through your armor first. The Tiberium weapons go straight for your health, and they also do some damage over time once they're finished.
Gwinzer, do they do damage versus tanks and things as well?
I think everything does limited damage against everything in Ren X, but it's to an extremely small amount. And
right.
I do believe that the Tiberium, it certainly does damage to the light tanks. I don't know about the likes of heavy armor like the Mammoth tank or the Flame.
Right.
I think it does. It's just like you could empty a whole mag into it and maybe do like 2 or 3% of maximum hit points of damage, so it really doesn't do anything at all in comparison.
What I liked is during one of the rounds we played today, the Nod have a class called the what's it called?
The Shadow Trooper?
No.
Stealth Black Hand?
No, I'm thinking about the chemical guy.
Chemical Trooper.
Oh yeah, Chemical Trooper.
Okay, that's what it's called. Yeah, so one of my favourite things today with that flechette rifle is Nod has a class called the Chemical Trooper, which in the original game he was this massive guy in a like hazmat suit with a giant helmet. He had the biggest head in the game, and he was really, really OP, underpowered because of it. But because he had the chem suit, he was immune to Tiberium weapons and the fields as well. And they have kept the chem suit properties while dropping the guy's big head. And when a few people were trying to hit me with all their Tiberium weapons earlier on, I managed to avoid all that just by pulling this class. And it's very, very cheap. So yeah, this podcast has been quite short today. We're down on people and we really didn't have much to announce. Please tune in next week. I have been Gwinzer. With me today has been Matsif, Fields, and Waxus. Mr. Blue is doing our cutting together today. Thank you to him, and catch us next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.